Welcome to NarrativeNook Audiotales, where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening. Just as Atli was about to speak, he was cut off by her angry roar. "All of you get out." Olga wasn't satisfied and angrily questioned her. "Are you not showing your money now because you want to leave it to Arabella? Who I want to leave my money to is my business, none of yours. If you don't leave, I'll call for help." Seeing Grace's explosive temper and her incessant cough, Atli quickly dragged Olga out of the room. "Don't yell at her. If you annoy her to the point of something bad happening, we won't get a single thing." "How's that possible?" A vicious glint flashed in Olga's eyes. "Isn't it right and lawful for you, her only son, to inherit her wealth after Grace passes away?" She wished Grace would just die already, so she wouldn't have to keep coming to the hospital. Olga thought about it and found it to make sense. She must not let Arabella get the upper hand. "Let's go," Atli, holding Olga's hand, sighed. "We'll come back when Grace has cooled down. Stop dragging me." After a few steps, they noticed Yolanda was still standing there, her eyes filled with tears of grievance. Atli turned back, puzzled. "Yoli, what's wrong?" Yolanda's tears finally fell as she said pitifully, "Granny Grace only has Bella in her heart. Is it because I haven't been doing enough to win Granny Grace's favor? Dad, I'm sorry I've embarrassed you." Her voice was thick with the urge to cry. Atli's heart ached, and he went over to comfort her. "It's not your fault, you've been doing great. Bella must have used some tricks. She must be buttering up Grace a lot. Old folks love kids who do that. We're busy and haven't been coming here. That gave her the chance." That's what Atli thought. Yolanda, her eyes filled with tears, asked innocently, "So, if I learn from Arabella, visit Granny Grace often? Even if Granny Grace scolds or hits me, I'll bear it silently. Will Granny Grace like me then? If so, I'll come every day." "Why would you ever want to learn from Arabella? She's not worth a hair on your head." Olga stepped forward, taking her hand. "Let's go home. We'll have someone cook you something nice." "We can't go home yet. I have an idea." Atli suddenly whispered something in Olga's ear. Just as Arabella arrived at the office entrance, a group of people rushed up to her. "Miss Bella, hello. I'm the assistant to Tracy, the vice president of the Solterra Fashion Association, and a renowned designer. Do you have a moment to listen to what I have to say?" The speaker was a 20-something girl who looked fresh out of college, still carrying a youthful innocence. "Go ahead." Bella responded calmly, her expression unchanging. The girl was taken aback. Normally, hearing of Tracy's position would have shocked her. But Arabella's reaction was so casual, as if she had met even more important designers. Feeling awkward, the assistant quickly explained her purpose. "Actually, when you were accompanying designer Molly to the national design competition, Tracy noticed your talent. She thinks it's a waste for you to be just a small assistant and wants to personally mentor you to make a name for yourself in the design industry. Are you interested?" A lowly vice president trying to recruit, isn't that embarrassing? At that moment, a refined gentleman with gold-rimmed glasses stepped forward, politely saying, "Hello, Miss Bella, let me introduce myself. I'm the secretary of Lloyd, the honorary president of the Asian Clothing Organization. I'd like to invite you to join our big, tight-knit organization. Hello, Miss Bennett, I'm the editor-in-chief of International Fashion Magazine." As Arabella listened to them introduce themselves, before she could even refuse, Dean appeared. "Miss Bennett, I heard you were here. I have something urgent." "Who are these people?" Dean looked at the group in confusion. The people present were also taken aback, simultaneously asking, "Miss Bennett, wasn't she designer Molly's assistant? Why did it sound like she's someone important? Miss Bennett, are you doing business?" Dean thought he might have interrupted them. Looking at Arabella, he whispered, "Should we invite them upstairs? Are they from the same company or different ones? Judging by their attire, they don't seem to be from the same company. There have been a lot of people seeking collaborations with them recently. Isn't she designer Molly's assistant?" One of them couldn't help but ask Dean. Dean was taken aback. "No, Miss Bennett was just accompanying designer Molly to the competition, giving her courage and confidence. Miss Bennett is actually one of our company's leaders." Then it dawned on everyone, so that's why she didn't accept the job offers. Someone as talented as her at Collins Corporation must be paid a hefty salary to keep her here. Miss Bella, if you're willing to join our company, we can offer you 3 times your current salary. We can offer 5 times. What we offer is fame and status. I believe you're passionate about this industry and want to make a name in the design field. That's why you're staying in this company, right? Why work in such a small company when you can show everyone your design talent? You've heard of Tracy's fame, haven't you? She hadn't. I'm just working a summer job, Arabella said nonchalantly. I don't plan on becoming famous. What she really loved was probably medical research. Here's my business card. If you change your mind, call me anytime, no matter how late or whether it's a weekend, I'll answer. Me too. Here's my contact information. And mine. Everyone eagerly handed over business cards. Out of politeness, Arabella took them. After they left, she asked Dean, "Did you need something?" "Miss Bennet, it's like this." Dean hadn't finished speaking when he heard someone calling Miss Bennet's name. He looked in the direction of the sound, only to see a Maybach parked at the company's entrance. The middle-aged man who got out of the car radiated confidence. He was clearly a man of wealth. "Bella, I need to speak with you." When Atlee dropped that bombshell, Dean was taken aback. Was he Arabella's dad? What the heck was going on? Arabella's real dad was supposed to be Kenneth Collins. Who was this guy? He had the nerve to claim he was Arabella's father. Without batting an eyelid, Arabella headed toward the company. Atlee quickly tried to stop her. "Bella, I got you this chocolate cake on my way here. I bought it from that popular dessert shop that you probably know. I stood in line myself to buy it." Hearing Atlee's words, Dean was touched. He thought the people around Arabella were really nice, always buying her expensive desserts and even queuing up to get them. Just as he was about to say something nice, he heard Arabella's cold voice. "I hate chocolate." Atlee's face froze. He quickly said, "I remembered you loved chocolate. Did your taste change as you grew up?" "Yolanda loves chocolate." Arabella said it coldly. "From childhood, I've always hated chocolate." Now, Atlee was even more embarrassed. He quickly took out a wallet from his pocket and pulled out some big bills. "Take this money and buy whatever you like. I'm sorry for my mistake." Arabella coolly avoided his touch. "Spit it out." Dean was stunned. It seemed that Arabella did not like this middle-aged man. She looked quite impatient. "Bella, I saw you accompany designer Molly to a competition last time and found out you work here. Today I came to." Before Atlee could finish, he noticed Dean standing nearby and asked, "Bella, is this your colleague?" "No, I'm Miss Bennet's assistant, Dean." Before Dean could finish his sentence, he received a cold warning glance from Arabella, and he was so scared that he didn't dare to continue. Atlee looked at Arabella in surprise and said, "You've gone from being a small assistant to manager? You even have your own assistant?" Dean was shocked. Arabella was silent. "In that case, you should help me even more." Atlee put away his wallet, indicating his intentions. Albara Investment pulled their funds earlier, and a few big companies announced they wouldn't cooperate with us anymore. Recently, several suppliers have terminated their contracts. I want to ask for your help. Can you cooperate with our company? Arabella was speechless. I heard your production volume has exploded recently, and you have a lot of orders. Can you pass some to us? Arabella got the gist of his request and mocked him coldly. Did you hit your head on the street? Or did the rainwater get into your brain? Instead of going to the hospital, you came here to act crazy. Atlee knew that coming to Arabella might get him reprimanded, but he didn't expect her to be so harsh, especially in front of her assistant. Just as Arabella was about to enter the company, Atlee blocked her way again. Bella, even if you don't respect your father, at least think about your grandmother. Ask yourself, has your grandmother treated you badly these years? Shouldn't you repay her kindness? Now that the Murphy family is in trouble, aren't you going to help? I just want some of your orders. I'm not asking for alimony. Arabella cut him off impatiently, saying, What right do you have to say this to me? Bella, I'm begging you. Even if you don't want to give me some orders, at least give me a few designs. Designs? Now that you're the company manager, you can get designer Molly to whip up some new designs for us, free of charge. Then, our two companies can team up for sales. If you don't fancy teaming up, we can sell them separately. Arabella was annoyed. Teamed up for sales, which meant partnering up with the Murphy family's company to boost their fame. If they sold separately, all the cash would flow straight into their pockets. Design styles for them to make money for free? Even a sane person wouldn't say something like that. Dean, call security and tell them there's a lunatic babbling nonsense here. Arabella, how could you be so heartless? Atlee spat out angrily, you've lived with the Murphy family for 18 years. All the money you spent was ours. Did I ever ask for a penny back? I just want you to contribute a bit. I'm not asking you to fork out all your cash. Why are you so against it? Arabella coolly replied, I've repaid your kindness. I haven't spent a dime of your money in these 18 years. On the contrary, she was secretly bankrolling the Murphy family. Every time Atlee hit a bad patch with his investments, she was the one to cover the losses. Last time, he lost a few $100 million. Without her, the Murphy family would have been bankrupt by now. Would he still be able to drive his Maybach around and act crazy in front of her? Arabella, I don't want to fight with you. Atlee knew she had some worth, so he held his temper and said softly, give me a few piano pieces. I can sell those too. What are you still doing standing there? Arabella coldly looked at Dean and said, aren't you calling security? Dean quickly went to get security. Arabella just arrived at the company, and when she saw Atlee trying to follow her in, she coldly warned him, if you take one more step, the Murphy family will be bankrupt today. Although he knew she didn't have the power to do so, her aura made him uneasy. Seeing Arabella walk into the company, Atlee yelled out, I'll be waiting for you at home. When you've cooled off, understand me, then come home, and I'll have someone make you some good food. Arabella pressed the elevator button and stepped in. Don't forget to come home. Watching the elevator doors close, Atlee turned around and walked to his car. Sitting in the car, Olga and Yolanda watched him being humiliated and were very angry. Arabella just became the manager of a small company, and she thinks she's all that. Wonder what lowly method she used to become a manager. She even dares to put on airs in front of us. Olga was furious. Dad, Mom, don't be mad. She's a good person, and I believe she'll understand. Let's go home and wait for news, Yolanda comforted them. Olga glanced at her. She was very fond of Yoli. Compared to Arabella, she liked Yoli more. Atlee also found out that only Yoli was the closest to him, while Arabella was always hurting him. Every time he tried to get close to her, he would get hurt. Indeed, Arabella was not his biological daughter. As soon as Arabella got back to her office, her phone started buzzing. Bella, come to the hospital quickly. Grace's condition has suddenly worsened. The moment Arabella heard the news, she was on her feet and out the door asking, what's up? Something might have rattled her. Arabella immediately had an inkling. Did anyone from the Murphy family go to the hospital? A nurse told me that she saw someone from the Murphy family leaving Grace's room before she fell ill. This could mean that Grace was pissed off by the Murphy family. If that's the case, she won't let them off the hook. By the time she rushed to Hope Hospital, Grace's vital signs were plummeting fast. In the room besides Caden Newton, there were 2 doctors and a nurse, all discussing how to save Grace. Surgery or not, it's your call. Caden looked at Arabella. Even though Grace was in no shape for surgery, if she didn't get one, she was a goner. Arabella's slender fingers checked Grace's pulse, then she said, hand me the medical kit. Grace wasn't in a position where she needed surgery. Caden handed her the medical kit. Arabella skillfully opened the kit, picked out a few thin silver needles, and started acupuncture treatment on Grace. A newbie nurse nearby was taken aback. What the hell was this girl doing? She had the guts to do this in front of 2 doctors and Dr. Caden? Dr. Caden. Let her be. Caden knew Arabella must have a trick up her sleeve. Sure enough, soon after, Grace coughed up a mouthful of blood. Granny Grace. Arabella leaned down and called softly, can you hear me speak? The nurse nearby, seeing Arabella revive Grace, remembered a rumor she heard when she first started her internship at Hope Hospital. There was a high school girl who was a wizard at medical procedures, and she used to perform surgeries alongside Dr. Caden. Could it be the girl standing in front of her right now? She's so young and yet so brilliant. Grace heard a familiar voice and weakly opened her eyes, instinctively reaching out for Arabella's hand. Arabella quickly held her hand and asked softly, "Granny Grace, are you awake?" "I'm so sorry." Grace was emotional. "I couldn't even keep the stuff you gave me safe." "What the heck did that mean?" Grace coughed a few times, tears filling her eyes. "My stuff is gone." Arabella realized that Granny Grace was upset about this and quickly comforted her, saying, "It's no biggie. Those were cheap things. If you like them, I can buy more for you." "No." Grace's voice was filled with a hint of sadness. "Don't buy any more. They must have taken my things. Even if she bought new ones, they would take them away." "Calm down." Arabella spoke softly, "You're too weak right now. Close your eyes and get some sleep. When you wake up, your stuff will be back." Grace knew she had the ability to recover those things. She was specially trained and could deal with average people. Even assassins were no sweat. But Grace didn't want her to meet those people. "It's okay, you don't need to confront them." As she was saying this, she coughed up another mouthful of blood, scaring the nurse beside her, who instinctively covered her mouth. She just started her internship not long ago, and seeing such a bloody scene firsthand freaked her out. But Arabella seemed to be used to scenes like this, gently wiping the blood from Grace's mouth with a tissue and lightly touched her chest. "Chill out, please." With her company, Grace's mood got a little better, but she still felt bummed about losing her stuff. That gem flower must have taken Bella a heck of a long time to find those high-grade gems. That new phone, though it didn't look branded, Grace knew that the operating system inside was sleek, and it must have cost a pretty penny. And that bracelet, made of high-quality gold, must have been designed by Bella herself. She really loved it. Who would have thought that in the end, all those things were taken away by someone who didn't leave her anything? "Don't be sad anymore. I'll make sure they give it back." Arabella comforted her again in a soft voice. Seeing that Grace's mood was gradually calming down and the data on the instrument had returned to normal, Caden left with 2 doctors and nurses. Both doctors were praising Arabella's medical skills. This wasn't their first time seeing Arabella save patients. "If our hospital could have talent like this, we would totally be the top one in the country." Yeah, the new generation took over the mission of the previous one. These young folks are so amazing. The guy who took Grace's stuff seemed to be her own son. That's messed up. How could he do such a heartless thing? The new nurse followed Caden, clenching her fists, feeling angry for Grace. "He's indeed a jerk." Caden replied casually, "Let me know next time they come." He didn't want to see Arabella so worried again after seeing the anxiety and pain in Bella's eyes just now. "No problem." The nurse followed Caden's pace and curiously asked, "Dr. Caden, is that girl your girlfriend? I think you two match well. Is she the high school student who saved Philip McMillian? She's so young. How can she have such superb medical skills? Was she taught by her family?" The nurse asked a lot of questions. Caden thought of that cool and handsome face he saw in the hospital last time. It seemed that man was a better match for Bella. His medical skills were often surpassed by Arabella's. Like today, he thought Grace had to have surgery, but once Bella was here, she solved the problem so easily. It seemed he still had a long way to go to catch up with Bella. "Dr. Caden, don't you need to accompany your girlfriend since you work overtime every day?" The nurse asked again. No one knew that he worked overtime every day, trying to improve his medical skills or at least be closer to Arabella. After Grace fell asleep, Arabella gently covered her with the quilt. Grace's hand was still tightly holding a thin bracelet, which was the first gift Arabella gave her after earning money. Maybe because the bracelet was too thin, Olga thought it was worthless, so she didn't take it away. According to Grace, when she woke up, Olga was already in the ward, and after a while, they left. When Grace checked under her pillow again, those things were gone. This was a VIP ward with surveillance equipment all around. There's no way for a thief to steal things under Grace's pillow. Nobody else knew about Grace being hospitalized here. The only visitors were her and the Murphy family. So, the stuff was definitely taken by the Murphy family. "Grandma, I'll come to see you later." Arabella got up, gently closed the door of the ward, walked to the reception desk on the floor, and said to one of the nurses, "Please keep an eye on the patients in room 301 for me. If there is an emergency, you can call me at the contact information listed. My name is Arabella." "I see. Don't worry. You are Dr. Caden's girlfriend, and you are one of our own." That nurse was an intern right now. When she smiled, her eyes were like bright stars. "He is not my boyfriend," Arabella corrected calmly. "I will tell him what you said." "No, don't say I said it. Please, please." The nurse put her hands together and asked again and again. At this time, Caden walked out of the office and saw Arabella leaving. He walked toward her with long legs. When the nurse saw him, she picked up a medical record and pretended to be reading it, but she turned it upside down. "Arabella." Caden stopped her aloud. "Are you going back?" "Well, you should be more gentle in the future." Caden thought that he was not gentle enough at ordinary times. In front of Arabella, his temper has never been better. Did the nurse speak ill of him? Otherwise, why would Arabella suddenly say this to him? In this way, Caden's eyes fell on the nurse, and the nurse's hands with medical records were shaking with fear. "I mean, you seem to be too serious at ordinary times. Smile more." "Am I serious?" Caden thought it was very interesting. Arabella had never seen his serious appearance. When he used to treat Susanna and the Murphy family, that was really serious. Was he already very gentle with Arabella? The nurse next to him secretly glanced at Caden's smile and was stunned. She didn't expect Dr. Caden, who had always been serious, to be so handsome when he smiled. He was really gentle with Arabella. "That's it. Smile more. I'll go back first. I have some things to deal with." When Arabella finished, she looked at the nurse beside her and tapped her finger on the desktop. "Remember to keep an eye on the patient for me." "Okay, no problem." The nurse promised. "Arabella." Caden stopped her and said, "Are you going to find them?" "You are alone. I am very uneasy." "Don't worry, it's them who have something to do." Arabella casually prodded the corners of her mouth. "If I do too much, you should pay more attention to them on the operating table." "Don't worry, I promise to make them unforgettable." "I'm leaving." When the nurse saw Arabella leave, she couldn't help saying, "Dr. Caden, your friend is really cool and has a strong atmosphere. Did you say anything bad about me just now?" "Ah, no. No. You will be working the night shift for the next week." "Ah, Dr. Caden," I put my foot in my mouth. "I'm sorry, don't go." Arabella took a taxi to the Murphy family. As soon as she approached the yard, she heard two nannies excitedly sharing trophies. "This dress is good. Give me one. I heard that the old lady is dying. Let's choose any of these clothes. Look at this style, it's really nice. She is so old, it's a waste to wear such good clothes." "That's nice. Hey look, why does this dress have a QY logo in the sun? Famous brand." "I don't know, it may be an anti-counterfeiting mark. Don't worry about it, as long as the clothes look good. I would have taken a fancy to this dress. I don't think she can come back this time. Let's take some more." Suddenly there was a loud noise, and the golden iron gate was kicked open. Two nannies heard the sound, saw Arabella, and subconsciously hid their clothes behind them. But there were too many clothes in front of them to hide, and some looked at Arabella guiltily. "Miss Arabella, why are you back? She is not the person of this family. Haven't you heard? Her biological family is in a poverty-stricken area. When she comes back this time, it is estimated that she has come to borrow money from her master and wife. Didn't the master just give you $6 million? Do you really make this your home? Breaking in without saying hello, have you forgotten the etiquette that the Murphy family has taught you over the years?" Arabella came to them step by step and asked coldly, "Why are Grandma's clothes in your hands?" These clothes were all designed for Grandma by her own hands. "Do we need to explain to you?" One of the nannies stretched out her finger, pointed at the tip of Arabella's nose and sneered, "You still think you are a lady of the Murphy family?" She chuckled, and just wanting to say anything, directly grabbed her arm. "Ah, Arabella, what are you doing?" Another nanny panicked. "You. I'm going to tell the master and his wife." Arabella lifted her foot and kicked it, and another nanny immediately fell to the ground, and her whole face fell into the grass, complaining repeatedly in pain. "Answer my question." Arabella stepped up her efforts. Arabella's eyes dimmed. Why can't Olga wait for the death of Granny Grace? Why did she want Granny Grace's things so soon? Mrs. Murphy wants to vacate Grace's cloakroom and use it as a yoga studio for Miss Yolanda. "These clothes," Mrs. Murphy said, "Grace can't wear so much. They are out of date, so she said to give them to us and let us choose at will. Grandma's things. Does she have the right to do this? Mrs. Murphy said that she is the hostess of this family, and she has the right to deal with everything in the family. Arabella mercilessly shook off her hand, and the nanny accidentally fell to the ground. My waist. Sir, madam, come on, something has happened. Someone is going to kill someone. Atli, Olga, and Yolanda hurried out to see that it was Arabella. Atli had thought that Arabella figured it out and was willing to cooperate with the Murphy family. This was a great thing. Arabella, have you finally returned home? Come in and sit down. Atli hurried forward, revealing a flattering smile. Arabella, after all, grew up in the Murphy family. Now, at a critical juncture, she had returned to repay her kindness. Arabella was bored when she saw his hypocritical face. Why are Grandma's clothes here? Atli was shocked. He didn't expect to be seen by her so skillfully. He quickly explained, these are outdated clothes. We want to buy new ones for your grandmother, so these old ones are no longer needed. Clean the clothes and put them back in the cloakroom. Atli glanced at the clothes, then at her, saying, no problem. You two, what are you still sitting on the floor? Hurry up and bring Grace's stuff in. Sir, one of the maids wanted to say, weren't these things meant to be given to them? Why did he change his mind as soon as he saw Arabella? It was clear that Atli respected Arabella quite a bit, even with a hint of deliberate flattery. The two maids didn't understand what was going on, felt a bit unconvinced, and were about to pick up the clothes and go indoors. Arabella said coldly, get someone else to do it, I don't like their hands. You. The two maids were so angry they were speechless. Atli, however, obeyed and quickly called for someone else to handle it. Bella, is this satisfactory to you? You haven't been home in a long time. Come in and sit down, I'll have someone prepare your favorite fruit. He said this and quietly asked the maid behind him, what fruit does Bella like? Sir, I'm not sure. Miss Bella didn't seem to be picky, she ate everything. But before, they rarely cut fruit for her to eat. No one remembered what she liked. Then prepare Bella's favorite snacks. Atli raised his voice, as if deliberately saying it for Arabella to hear. The maid spoke quietly, Sir, I don't know what snacks Miss Bella likes. The snacks at home were all what Miss Yoli liked. No one ever cared about what Arabella liked. Atli glared at her and said, then bring up all the fruit and all the snacks in the house. Bella may have left this home, but she is still my daughter, Atli's daughter. Bella, come in and sit down. Olga was displeased on the side. Although she didn't like the idea of Arabella eating their stuff, she had to admit that Arabella was of great value now. Aren't we going to cooperate? Fire these two maids to show me your sincerity. Probably not expecting Arabella to make this request, the two maids were stunned, and one of them angrily said, why should we be fired just because you said so? Will the master listen to you? Firing the two maids could exchange huge benefits from the Murphy family, but Atli couldn't wait. He hurriedly said, someone, settle their wages and get them out. They are not to be hired again. Sir. The two maids were stunned. They couldn't believe that Arabella could just say a word and the master would agree. Did the sun rise from the west today? Madam, the master is going to fire us. Aren't you going to say something? The madam said that those clothes were going to give them. Let them pick whatever they wanted. How came now it had become their fault? Since the master has spoken, you can take an extra month's salary and work in someone else's house. Madam. The two maids didn't expect her not to save them either, although they didn't understand the reason. The two maids still glared at Arabella angrily, then left with their anger. Now, it's time to settle our accounts. Arabella turned her gaze to Atli and said coldly, you should return the things you took from my grandmother. Upon hearing this, Atli immediately felt a bit uneasy. Olga immediately stepped forward and said, those were all given to us by your grandmother personally. Now you want to take them back? If you really want to take them back, they can't go through you, an irrelevant person. How do we know you won't steal them, just like last time when you stole Yoli's necklace? The butler at the side couldn't help but snort. She still remembered the last incident. Before Arabella left the Murphy family, she stole Yoli's gem necklace. When she got busted, she panicked and tossed the necklace into the trash bin. Well, that settles it then, Arabella said, about to enter the house. Upon hearing this, Atli mistook it for Arabella's refusal to cooperate. He hastily nudged Olga. "What are you waiting for? It's her grandma's stuff. If she wants it now, let her have it." "Why should I?" Olga knew the stuff was worth a fortune. She could sell it for a ton of cash, definitely more than what Arabella's order was worth. "You've got to have a big picture in mind." Atli reminded her in a hushed, urgent voice, "Go get it now." The Collins family had made it clear that they wouldn't allow any company to cooperate with them. If Arabella's subsidiary could be the first to approach them, other companies would surely follow suit, thinking they'd established a good rapport with the Collins. Plus, they would ask Arabella to get designer Molly to design new models for free in the future. In the long run, cooperating with Arabella would pay off the most. "Yoli, bring out yours too." Upon hearing Atli's words, Yolanda bit her lip resentfully. The gem was so lifelike, it could even play piano tunes. She loved it. She just got it, and now she had to return it. Reluctantly, Olga shot Arabella a glance and went to fetch the items. Arabella collected the 3 items and strode towards the door, as if eager to sever ties with this family. Atli quickly called out to her, "Arabella, about the cooperation. There is no need to discuss it." Realizing she'd been tricked, Olga immediately blocked Arabella's way. "If you're not planning to cooperate with us, hand over the stuff." "You think I'd just hand it over because you say so? That's your grandma's stuff. You know it's hers too? And you still stole it? You didn't think her condition would worsen." On hearing this, Atli was taken aback. "What are you saying? What happened to your grandma? Why did her condition suddenly worsen? She was fine when we visited her this morning." "Atli, don't listen to her nonsense." Olga pointed at Arabella warningly and said, "I told you to hand over the stuff. Did you hear me? Try and take it if you can." Olga turned to the servants and said, "What are you waiting for? Go." The butler and driver rushed forward, trying to teach Arabella a lesson. To everyone's surprise, they were knocked down by Arabella before they could even touch her. Stunned, Olga couldn't help but raise her hand, intending to teach Arabella a lesson. Arabella gripped her wrist tightly, staring at her coldly. "Because of you, my grandma's recovery has been set back. You let go of my hand." Olga didn't care about the old woman's condition, yelling, "I said let go. How dare you defy me?" She tried to hit Arabella with her other hand, but Arabella blocked it. Suddenly, Arabella let go. Olga fell onto the grass, a sharp pain shooting through her waist, turning her face pale. "Oh, my back. Mom, are you okay?" Yolanda immediately rushed forward, trying to help Olga. "It's hurt. Don't touch me." "Arabella, you have become so savage after a few days of not disciplining you." Olga was lying on the grass, and tears came out in pain. "Arabella, you have gone too far." Yolanda saw Arabella want to go, immediately caught up with her, grabbed her arm, and wanted to argue with her clearly. Arabella hated Yolanda's touch. As soon as she raised her hand, Yolanda fell dramatically on the grass with a painful expression. "Yoli, are you all right?" One of the servants hurriedly came forward to help. Yolanda's tears fell, but she pretended to be strong and said, "I'm fine. Don't worry. Bella, how can you treat your mother and sister like this?" Atli can't believe that this little girl had become so savage. She was not only rude to the servants but also so indifferent to her mother and sister. He can't believe she's like this. "You said it yourself that I have nothing to do with this family." Arabella's eyes were ruthless. "If I catch you stealing from Grandma again, I'll cut off your hands. You wicked girl, don't let her go." Olga was in tears and ordered the servants around her to close the door and teach her a good lesson. Arabella easily opened a road and swaggered out of the Murphy family. The Murphy family was shocked. "Is this still the old Bella? She's only been away for a month, and she's changed so much. Mom, are you all right?" Yolanda hurried forward to ask about it. Olga's teeth itch with hate. This evil girl, if we don't teach her a lesson, will she think that we are easy to bully? Atli sighed. He thought Bella had figured it out and wanted to cooperate with them. Unexpectedly, Arabella left the Murphy family and sent the items to the old lady. The mobile phone suddenly shook. "Bella, what are you busy with?" It was a message from her brother. Arabella's finger touched the screen and she quickly replied, I have something to do outside. Going home for dinner at night. Yes. Do you want something to eat? I am not picky about food, anything will do. Good. Hans had always been concise. After replying good, he saw that his sister didn't reply again, and he started typing again. Don't be too busy, pay attention to your health. After thinking about it, he added, see you tonight. Arabella gave an okay and put away her mobile phone. Hans didn't expect his sister to be more concise than him. He smiled and said to Julian on the side, I will try my best to advance the afternoon, and I will go home early to accompany Arabella. Julian kept his eyes open. He seemed to see the boss smile just now. He had been with the boss for 7 or 8 years, and the boss seemed a little different to his sister. Arabella had just gotten in a taxi and returned to the company after accompanying the old lady when she saw Romeo's car parked not far away. The man who got off the car was tall and handsome, which attracted the attention of several passers-by. There was still half an hour before leaving work. Arabella thought that coming back early would not let him find out. She didn't expect him to come half an hour early. Where have you been? Romeo came over and gently tidied up her broken hair. Next time you want to use the car, you can tell me. He didn't want the girl to call a taxi outside. I went out to do something. Why did you come so early? Arabella looked up at him. Do you come here so early every day? There has been nothing to deal with recently. Romeo looked at her, spoiled. Although he said so, only Carl understood that Romeo speeded up his work every day in order to pick up Miss Arabella early and try to stay with her. At this point, Romeo had made time to fall in love, and his assistant was still handling the follow-up work in the company. Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.